Welcome to the Warrior in Progress podcast. This podcast features honest and vulnerable discussions about how to make lasting mindset shifts. Through these mindset shifts, you'll be able to commit to yourself and stop sabotaging yourself so you can transform your life. I'm your host, Jennifer McKee, certified health coach and motivational speaker. Look, I've been there. I've done that. I've lost over 50% of my body weight naturally. That's 185 pounds. I invite you to subscribe to the Warrior in Progress podcast for motivational, inspirational, and thought-provoking topics where I'll share with you some practical tools that I've learned on my journey so far that will empower you and help you to access that inner warrior that's inside each and every one of us. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome to the Warrior in Progress podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer McKee. Thank you so much for being here today. Today's episode is entitled, It is Time to Forgive Yourself. This is a topic that I found I really wanted to discuss. Forgiveness of ourselves and others is very important when trying to transform our lives. Today's episode, I'm just going to talk about forgiveness of self. So I'm not going to be talking about forgiveness of others, even though that is extremely important as well. So I'll probably address that in a future podcast episode. So often we have a hard time letting go and forgiving ourselves for past mistakes. We just don't really learn or move on. We hold on to those negative emotions like anger, resentment, sadness, fear, shame, guilt. Shame and guilt can be so debilitating. If we make a mistake, we may have a lot of shame and we may feel less than and not good enough. Okay. And one of the things too is so often I hear from people, and I used to also do this, but I hear from a lot of my clients, they say, why can't I just be where I was, where I used to be at? I lost the weight before, or I had achieved such and such goal, but I gained, let's just use weight. It's a lot easier example, but I lost the weight before and I've gained it back plus more. Why can't I just be back where I was when I had lost the weight? That's where I want to be, Jennifer. And I always challenge my clients and I say, do you really want to be where you were? Because that person didn't know how to keep the weight off. That person did not know how to sustain healthy habits, or maybe she never even learned how to create healthy habits. Maybe she didn't do the inner work that was needed. Maybe you were still beating yourself up. Maybe, who knows? But do you really want to be that version of yourself? Because she gained the weight back. So there was obviously something that wasn't done, right? So what if you could be an even better version of yourself? How? How can you be a better version of yourself? In my opinion, you can learn from your experience, from the experiences you previously had, your past experiences, forgive, let go, and move on. You want to learn from it. You can move on with the new knowledge. You didn't know what you didn't know. Back then, you didn't know what you didn't know. I had lost the weight so many times and always gained it back plus more. But when I look back on each of those times, especially the times that I lost like a significant amount of weight, when I look back on those times, I see that there were a lot of things I didn't know then that I know now. So it makes sense to me why that person gained the weight back. And I'm grateful to be where I am today. You did the best you could. You did the best you could with the knowledge that you had. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Learn from it. Move forward. The other thing is, give yourself some credit for what you have done and what you have learned and what you have done. Give yourself some credit instead of focusing on everything that you haven't done right. Right. That's in quotation marks. give yourself some credit because you have done a lot. You have accomplished a lot. Do you have other things that you want to do? Yes. Did you maybe gain the weight back plus more? Yes, maybe. But does that mean you're destined to always be obese or overweight? No, absolutely not. That is up to you. Now, I don't mean that you know certain things and you should be doing certain things and then you're going to lose weight. No, what I mean is you are capable of anything that you put your mind to. Is it going to be easy? Hell no. Are you going to be able to do it all on your own? Probably not. You're probably going to have to reach out for help in some shape or form. And in my experience, you are probably going to need some type of an accountability partner or something like that, because so often it is hard to hold ourselves accountable on our own because it's too easy for us to lie to ourselves. It's too easy for us to sabotage ourselves. So if we're talking to somebody else about it, what our goals are, and we're checking in with them and we're being honest with them, then chances are that's going to work a lot better for accountability. But the other thing too is, remember, you did not intentionally hurt yourself. You did not intentionally sabotage yourself. You did not intentionally gain the weight back. You weren't like, after you lost, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, you didn't say to yourself, okay, I'm going to gain the weight back. Did you? Plus more. No, you didn't. It was not intentional. You didn't know what you didn't know. You did the best you could at the time. It's time to forgive yourself. It's overdue. It's overdue. It's so interesting because our thinking and behaviors and habits, they are deeply ingrained in our subconscious, very deeply ingrained in our subconscious. So sometimes we get vulnerable. We get in a place of vulnerability and we slip. That's normal. That's normal. The key is perseverance, not giving up, getting back on track now, not tomorrow, not next week, not after your vacation, right now. That is one of the biggest keys that I can share with you. So here are some keys for you, some additional keys on how to forgive yourself. Remember, transformation is not linear. And I would really encourage you to abandon that all or nothing thinking, perfectionist thinking, because that can hold us back so much. That is not reality. That is not life. There's going to be ups and downs. It's okay. Learn from every experience, whether it's an up or a down. Learn from it. Keep moving forward. Keep climbing up that transformation mountain. Small changes and consistency are required. Okay. So if we are not consistent and we try to change too much at once, we're going to feel overwhelmed, right? So that's why small changes and consistency are required. That's how you create a habit. So if you want to transform your life, it's a requirement. If you want to work on your mindset, small changes and consistency are also a requirement there as well. With anything that you want to change, it doesn't matter what it is. Small changes and consistency are the keys there. Okay. So on how to forgive yourself, you need to remind yourself transformation is not linear. There's going to be ups and downs, and abandon that all or nothing thinking and remind yourself that small changes and consistency are required for transformation. So were you doing these things? And if the answer is no, just observe that. Observe it without emotion, judgment, no judgment. Just observe, accept, and learn from it. Learn from it. The other thing about forgiving yourself is to remember that it's so important to have awareness of what we are actually doing and what we're actually saying to ourselves. So to have awareness of our thoughts and our actions, accept that, surrender to it, and then take new action. It's so important to accept where we are on this journey and where we were on the journey in the past, that we did the best that we could. Okay, we did the best we could with what we had, with what we knew, right? And another part of forgiveness of self is to take responsibility for yourself and your actions. Integrity with yourself. In order to be in integrity with yourself, you have to be honest with yourself. And you have to have some humility, because you have to be willing to reach out when you're not in integrity with yourself. You need to be able to reach out to somebody else, not yourself, to somebody else to clear your integrity. It takes a lot of humility as well sometimes to just be honest about something with someone else. It can be hard because we might feel shame and we might feel guilt. So I want to ask you a question. Why is it important for you to have a better, happier, and more fulfilling life? Why? Why is it important for you to have a different life than you have now? And what would that life look like to you? Like, what is it about your life that you don't like and that you wish was different? And then why is that important to you? Think about what drives you, what you're passionate about. Who do you want to be? What does this better version of you look like? I would encourage you to journal about this. This is your vision and your why, which I will be talking about in my group coaching program that starts on June 6th. We'll be spending a lot of time on this. But let me ask you something. When you beat yourself up and you keep reminding yourself of past mistakes that you've made, and based on those past mistakes, you're keeping yourself stuck today from taking any action or from taking consistent action, how does that make you feel? I really had a lot of resentments toward myself. I was very upset with myself for the fact that I had lost 60 pounds in a healthy way. I had gained all that back plus an additional 40 pounds. And I would look at myself in the mirror and my inner critic would say, Jennifer, how did you let yourself get like this? In a very disgusted, condescending way. And I didn't know. I didn't know how I let it happen. But you know what? I had to be aware and accept what my reality was. My reality was that I weighed 358 pounds. I had to then surrender to that fact. And then I had to start taking action. I had to figure out, why was I struggling? Why did I have this negative relationship with myself? And I got help to do that. I got help to figure that out. And then I started taking small actions and I was consistent. And here we are. But only when I could start forgiving myself. That's when I started releasing that resentment I had for myself. And I started releasing that anger that I had for myself. And I started to love myself. Think about this. When a baby is learning to walk, she falls down a lot, right? She falls down, sometimes even flat on her face, right? I don't mean to laugh at that, but I'm just saying that, when a baby's learning how to walk, they only know what they know. They've never walked before. Just like maybe you've never been able to transform your life and sustain healthy habits. You don't know how to do that, right? Because you've never done that. So a baby learning how to walk, she doesn't know how to walk. Is she trying to do everything on her own? No, she is listening to her mom. She is taking help from her mom. Her mom is there to gently hold her hands as she walks, but then lets go so she can do it on her own as well, even if she falls. But what's interesting, the baby has that support and that help, right? Not to do it for her. Nobody can walk for the baby, right? The baby is the only one that can do that. But just to give the baby the support that it needs to be able to teach her how to do it and to support her. And then when the baby falls, because she's going to fall a lot before she can walk with any confidence. When the baby falls down, does the baby say, oh, I'm done. I'm not trying this anymore. I guess I can't do this. No, the baby gets right back up and is usually laughing and giggling and stuff like that, gets right back up and keeps trying, right? Get back up, show up for yourself, and keep trying. I guarantee you, if you get the support you need and you implement these tools, you will be so amazed at where your life will be in just a few months. Absolutely, in just a few months. I encourage you, I invite you to forgive yourself, to understand you did the best you could with the knowledge you had. Just like with this baby doesn't know how to walk. So if she falls down, is the mom going to yell at her and say, oh, you're like, why don't you know how to do this? No, absolutely not. So why do we talk to ourselves like that? You did the best you could with the knowledge you had, period. Are you ready to start showing up for yourself? Are you ready to let go of that anger for yourself? And are you ready to become an even better version of yourself now than you were at whatever previous weight that you think your life was perfect at? Are you ready to actually lose the weight and keep it off? Are you ready to heal yourself from the inside out and to love yourself unconditionally, no matter what mistake you make? Are you ready to learn from your mistakes and use it as a learning opportunity, a growing opportunity? Let's talk about the call to action. Call to action. I want you to kind of reflect and think about, like, where have I not been honest with myself recently? Where have I not taken responsibility for my actions? Maybe I'm blaming somebody else or something else as to why I can't commit to myself or why I can't put myself first. I want you to write about that. Where have you not been honest with yourself or taken responsibility for your actions or lack thereof? Second thing, what are 2 goals that you want to work on this month? 2, that's it. 2 goals you want to work on this month. And I'm not talking about a number on a scale. Okay. And I'm not talking about like a huge, like, let's say that you're drinking 8 cups of water. To go from drinking 8 cups of water to, a gallon might be a little bit too much to do in a month. Maybe not. Some people might be, it depends. But, we want to make sure that you are setting realistic goals. That's the point. The goal should not overwhelm you. So what actions are you going to take to achieve these goals? What healthy habits do you want to create or build on so that you can achieve these goals? Write this down. The third thing for the call to action is I encourage you anyway, to write a gratitude list. When you are beating yourself up and you are condemning yourself for past actions, I would encourage you to write a gratitude list about what you're grateful for that you have done for yourself, that you have done well for yourself, whether it's in the past, whether, like years ago, whether it's now, today, whatever it was. Write down what you're grateful for that you have done. And then write down what you want to work on. What do you want to work on tomorrow? Make it realistic. So gratitude is such a huge it creates a huge mindset shift. I also encourage you to write a gratitude list about what you're grateful for in general, like maybe that other people have done for you or whatever. But this podcast episode is specifically talking about you and forgiveness of yourself. And so often we look at all the things we didn't do right. We forget to give ourselves credit for what we are doing or what we have done. So that's why I'm suggesting doing this gratitude list. And if you find you're really, really struggling to forgive yourself, you might want to do this gratitude list every day. Every day. And if you're having a hard time finding anything to be grateful for, reach out for somebody else. Remember, you're looking at life through your own set of glasses. I would encourage you to reach out to your accountability partner, somebody else who has a different perspective than you that can maybe help you see some things that you're currently blinded to. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast episode, and thank you so much for being here and listening. I hope everybody has a great day. If you enjoyed this episode of the Warrior in Progress podcast, then please share it with your friends, share it with everybody. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast as well so you can get notifications on when I release new episodes. Meanwhile, you can follow me on social media. On Facebook, my handle is fullycommitted13, and on Instagram, my handle is fully_committed13. You can find out more about my work at mckeehealth.com. That's MCKEEHEALTH.com. And make sure to download my free Tame Your Inner Critic guide at mckeehealth.com, and you can learn how to stop beating yourself up, how to stop sabotaging yourself so that you can achieve your goals. Remember, you're a warrior in progress, and you can do anything you set your mind to.